Good evening. My name is Chris. I'm going to be sharing some tips with you guys that I've learned. Um, this talk is called More Data, More Drama. We'll get to some drama later, hopefully, if there's time. Here are some of the apps that I've worked on in my time, about 10 years doing iOS. I've worked on a lot of apps, shipped a lot of things, and I still feel like a beginner in a lot of places. I'm constantly learning things from people on my team. This is the company where I work out now, doing AI for healthcare professionals. And our value is to ship things safely and with speed rather than perfection. Safety over speed over perfection in that order. And that's kind of how this talk will go. Absolutely. I hope to empower many of you to make your own apps, whatever it is that you have in mind. You may not even be sure what it is yet. A lot of apps have the basics in common, which is that you have things that you want your users to see. The things have relationships between them, and you have to be able to update them and drive views from them. So whatever you're trying to build, even if you're not sure what it is you're going to build, hopefully this talk will be useful for you to drive the data layer there. I think of apps as being structured in kind of three layers: a data layer, a view layer, and then services that empower all of that. Whatever it is you're trying to build, people have built similar things in the past. There's a long history of people making apps, and you're not the first one to do it, although hopefully you have some groundbreaking things to make. When you're trying to figure out what you're going to build with, there's a couple options to consider. There used to be more in this realm of data layer. There's open source solutions, there's first party solutions. I will pitch to you my favorite. That's the takeaway from this talk. I've tried out a lot of different things: open source, things that are pitched by different companies that you might meet at meetups, things that are first party from Apple. What do you look for when you're building an app, when you're building the data layer? I'll pitch you on taking it, trying to do something first party. When you're working with open source, there's a lot of great communities out there, but things can be up to the whim of people that you don't know, and things can change very quickly. If you're working with third-party companies, they're trying to make a profit, and things can change. For example, there was a great system called Realm that was pitched by Mango. Just a couple months ago, without warning, they took it down. If you're building your app on a foundation like that, it could sink beneath you. You want to be aligned with the people who are building the software that you build on top of. If you're building stuff with Apple's own tools, they'll be there for you. Also, you want to work on technology that's mature. It's exciting to hear about all the new stuff, but if you're going to make some great new technology that uses AI or whatever new thing, don't take risks on the basics. Get the basics right, and a data layer is basic functionality that you want to get right. Swift data came out a couple years ago. It still doesn't feel ready yet. It's hard to scale with something that you're not absolutely confident in. So what is the right solution? I'll pitch you on my favorite, which is called Core Data. Very old technology. I'm going to tell you some things that you've probably heard before. Hopefully I can tell you some things that you haven't heard before. I like to go to this conceptual document when telling people about this. You can boil it down to just the basics here. Hey, you're going to make something really cool? You're going to write a lot of code? This is a framework that can help you do it with less code. This can build your model layer with maybe 50 to 70% less code. That's cool. You can make things safely. You can ship things quickly. There's a lot of other things we'll hear about too, cool features, but those are the basics. There's a lot of history here. Man, some of you have probably seen this over the years. This technology came out in 2005, if you can believe it. OS 10 Tiger is when Core Data was announced. It's older than iOS. It's older than Swift. The foundations of this technology are older than me. 1994, in Next, Craig Federighi, who is now the SVP at Apple of software, was working on some of the technologies that became Core Data with Steve Jobs. That's why everything starts with NS, is because it came from Next Step. That's how old this stuff is. So you're building, hopefully on top of a large foundation of technology. Here are some of the interesting dates. I forgot to mention, I worked at Apple for a while. I started right around here. Sorry. I started right around here and went through until last year. I left to join this cool startup making AI for healthcare. There's a large history here of well-tested, battle-tested foundations you can use for your app. I hope to share with you one more, maybe, that you can build on top of. Okay, here's the remaining agenda for this talk. We'll go through how to set up. I'll give you some tips from the inside. I've talked to the people who make this technology. I'll tell you what they told me. I didn't understand all of it, but the parts that I didn't understand, I'll share with you. We'll fill in a couple of things that are a little bit rough so that you can get started building your own things quickly and safely. And then if there's time, we'll get to a thrilling corporate espionage mystery really quickly. Hopefully you've seen this screen if you're in this room. This is how you make a new application. All you have to do to get started with a core data stack, flip that storage, and then hit next. It'll generate everything for you. Really, it's that easy. If you haven't done that yet, do it. Next. I like the GUI. If you don't like the GUI, we can fight after. This is how you can set up your data model. All the things that are going through your app, this is how you can set them up and structure them with relationships, with properties that you can discover just by clicking around. How great is that? That translates into everything you need. Offline support, efficient paging to the file system, normalized cache. It does it all for you. There's lots of debug tools that you can use to see the underlying logs that go through to catch errors early. Use some of these in as you're building things as runtime arguments. And here's what you'll get. This is beautiful to me. Wow, you probably don't care, but hopefully I'll convince you. This is a declarative API for building apps. You're just writing your code. You're looking at, say, a person. The person has a property called friends. Let's say I'm the person, and I'm loading my friends. All I do is call that property, and it, under the hood, pages to the file system, pulls out thousands of records. That's a lot of friends. Efficiently, in 5 milliseconds. That's crazy. I didn't have to do anything. It does it all for me. If I need to tune it and optimize it, I can go in there and do it. There's lots of great tools. There's instruments for debugging, how faults and fetches and saves happen. It's a first-party system, so it integrates with nice features like Spotlight that you might want to use. Or with CloudKit, if you're syncing across Apple devices, there's a lot of advanced things you can do with this. It's very cool. It integrates with SwiftUI. Look at that. It's brought all the way into the modern day. At this point, I would love to show you a cool live demo. Here we go. Here's my application. I've got a property wrapper variable there, persons, and a SwiftUI view. The view is going to show some of the properties of the people there. So it's just a list. Here we go. Okay, runtime demo. Oh, shoot. Runtime error during my demo. Oh, that's embarrassing. This is one of the sore spots I think that remains in core data, which is that it uses like Objective-C under the hood. This stuff is not Swift native. It's hard to integrate. That's what I'd like to help you with. On top of these decades of foundational technology, there's just a couple more things that you need. So here's some of the features that are listed in that conceptual document. We've gone through all of them. A couple rough things that remain. NS predicate leads to runtime errors. There's no Combine publisher. That would be really cool. And you need to do some magic incantation to get things done. Here's what that looks like. The top is what the vanilla framework gives you. It hurts my eyes. The bottom is what I'd like to get you to very shortly. So, here's the problem we ran into. Something that's not compile time checked. Let's get rid of that. Here's what you can do with a little wrapper library that I'll share with you. And now I have an application. This is a gossip application with corporate espionage, rumors, a lot of fun. And the mystery is that the AI prototype has been stolen, and we have to figure out who stole it. You can search different topics of gossip. You can look at the people who stated different bits of gossip, and it comes in, and hopefully you can find the solution pretty quickly. But this is a pretty robust application. I'm loading data, I'm showing it in the list, I can filter, I can compound filters, all this stuff. Pretty cool. And pull to refresh to reset it. Here's the application. 20 lines to get the app started. The whole implementation is about 100 lines, and there's no runtime errors. This ugly thing turned into a pretty thing. In my opinion, it's more declarative. It's driving all the data based on enums. Wow, Swift native, wow. I'll dive in to show you what that looks like. The enums are implementing some protocols that are in a library I'll share with you. One is for sorting stuff, one is for filtering stuff, and if you do those, you get a bunch of nice helper methods. You could build all this stuff yourself. Maybe you have, I have too. I'm tired of rewriting it. I put it into a framework and I open sourced it for you. Hopefully it's useful to you. And the result is, my goodness, a rich application like that in about 100 lines of code. There's your business logic. 4 functions, each of them is a couple lines of code. Very declarative. Here's a search, searching by string contains. Under the hood here, if you were to dive down, it's doing making NS predicates with some helpers that I've written and tested for you. So it's still doing the same thing under the hood, but it's a little prettier. Okay. Better, hopefully. Yeah. Applications using this amazing open source framework. Let me pitch them for you. 1, mystery corporate espionage. Try it at home. See who you think is guilty. 2 is a cool nonprofit based in San Francisco, a radio station, and I got the chance to build for them a nice app, and that was what prompted me to make this. Here's the live stream playing on the left. Check it out, it's really cool. They have good tunes. Almost 100 DJs, a lot of live events. Here's the code that powers it. I mentioned having a Combine publisher would be really nice. Here's a Combine publisher for core data. Here's how you use it. Just sync it. About half the room probably knows what that means, and get updates coming in. You could do this yourself. I was tired of repeating it, and the result is driving data, not with Swift UI, but with some system integration to do the heads-up display there. By the way, if anybody's interested in joining like a cool music community in the city, these people are so much cooler than me. I help them with their app. They need other people to help them with their app and with their website and with their events and their film crew doing music videos. One of the artists who's involved here just to shoot for Playboy, one of the band leaders, they do a music festival every year. I'd love to tell you more about them. Let me know if you're interested in Psyched Radio SF. Here's the framework that I showed you, the little library. It's a very thin wrapper. Again, it's not perfect, but it's effective for getting things done quickly. Speed over safety over perfection. And if you like it, please give it a little star to make me feel good. Here's where you can go get it to get started building early. And thanks a bunch to Slug for hosting everybody. I'd love to take any questions. This core data is a great foundation. This is just a little bit of a wrapper on top to get you started building quickly. I know what you're all thinking. Who did it?
Great talk. What are your issues with core data? Or sorry, not with Swift data?
Swift data is built on top of this. It already uses this under the hood. It's very promising, but some things that you would expect to work that are very basic don't work, like background processing is something that I've heard. One of the things that I like to do is present data from a view context on the main thread and to process data in the background. It's a very basic thing, and I haven't seen that work yet with Swift data. Hopefully, the decades of history that I showed you come to an end this year with DubDub, and we'll get a new Swift data drop that fixes everything. Even if that happens, it'll be a year or two before you can adopt it because you have to do backwards compatibility. Probably in the next OS version, they'll drop iPhone XR, so you'll probably have to keep that just to keep your customers. I'm looking forward to it, but this technology remains, I think, the best choice still today. Question? You can shout it, I'll repeat it.
What are some tips on migration?
Migration is a perfect pitch for this technology. They've thought through all the different cases. It does it automatically when you change your schema. So the question was, how do you migrate data, I think? You can do it manually if you need to. A lot of it will be done automatically. In all my time, I've never actually had to write a manual migration for core data because you can always just either throw out a cache if it's server generated data or do simple cases that are lightweight that the system can do for you.
So this is the obvious question. What about just going straight to SQLite?
Yes. This is, I've used core data for personal projects, nonprofit technologies, and even some business things. But every organization gets big enough that they want to take matters into their own hand. It might be ego, I don't know, but they want to optimize things. And they also want to have solutions that work on non-Apple platforms. So using SQLite, that was a question, what about using SQLite, is a great choice. Actually, it probably is the choice that my company will do now. A great open source solution is GRDB for that. There's also a SQLite package, but again, that's up to the whim of one person, and if he changes his mind about how he likes to run things. Open source is a little bit risky like that. This is built on top of SQLite, or can be. This I'm sorry to go back to it, but the conceptual document at the top is really always what I like to go back to. This framework is not just for persistence, it's really an entire model layer. And you don't even have to use the persistence features that go to SQLite to make it useful. Everybody has things that they want to show. Everybody has a graph of data, and they need to drive their views. They need to process things in the background. You can save to binary plist if you want. You can save to other schemas. GRDB similarly is an ORM. That's the name for that technology. It's from the 90s. Craig Federighi worked on it. But it's a good choice, yes. Question from Jamie? Oh, okay. That's all from me. Thank you.